Hey, back again. Um, let's I guess do an introduction. Um, I'm 30 years old. My resume is really extensive. It won't even fit on a page if you put the minimalist things on it. Um, Recently got out of IT school. IT school finished up, like to get certifications and stuff. School finished up in July, like in the middle of all this COVID stuff. So I mean, in when you go to schools like that to get major certifications, um, you have to have monitored testing environments, and since schools closed down, there's no way to take those tests. Um, I'm 30. I've been working since I was 12 years old. My first tax-paying job was when I was 17. Basically about 4 years ago, I had a falling out with, or I had to leave my more professional kitchen job, um, because there's just no more room to grow. I got to every section within the kitchen, did everything there with the exception of like the hot food and stuff. Then they moved me to receiving because it seemed like I was strong or whatever. But anyway, yeah. So there's like nothing else that I could do. Not even move upward or anything like that. And I mean, humans generally just have to grow and move forward. There's no point just standing still. But so there was that, and I couldn't get another job directly in the time frame I needed to when I had my own first apartment, because in that time I was in my own first apartment. I moved out of my house to the apartment. Um, and then so I couldn't afford rent. And so basically I had eviction or whatever else. I mean the lien on my credit report or whatever else. I basically owe like a month of rent to the original company that had leased it out, or that had leased the apartment to me. And that's probably keeping me from getting my second apartment, my personal second apartment. Um, that and I haven't found a job that I've been able to make three times the amount of rent per month, because that's those usually qualifications. They usually look at your credit history, or they look at how much you're making in a month. And I haven't had a job that where I'm making three times the amount of rent in a month. As well too. The other issues being is that I worked for or for the past year I haven't had a car since January. I mean, I've had rentals, but rental cars will cost about anywhere from about $600 to $800 a month, and that's basically rent. Just about anywhere unless you're in a really cheap area of the country. And here where I live, the current city that I live, I do technically live in Charlotte, North Carolina. It's a banking city. I've been here my whole life. I was born here, raised here, etc. But rent here is about seven on the very cheap side to about a grand, if not $1,200 a month. So I'm sure you can imagine why it's a little difficult to make three times the amount of rent in a month. Um, but yeah, so and my plan is that to pay off the rent that I owe to that company that I've had for like 4 years, the rent that I've owed them for 4 years. Either that or save up like 5 months worth of rent, and then I should be able to get an apartment. But who's able to save up $5,000? Especially living with homeless expenses, which are basically you eat more because you eat more because you're burning more calories, both in walking, and stress as well. Stress burns calories, other things too. Um, you're walking more. I mean, when you're stressed, you burn more calories. That's the biggest thing. And yeah, so there's that expense. You're consuming more. You're drinking more. I mean, your body's just at a constant clench for need of sustenance and everything. Um, and then when you actually so there's that. There's clothing too. I mean, winter clothing. Like I have my jacket and my jacket and my laptop stolen. Which sorry for the shitty phone quality. It's not an iPhone or anything, and I don't have like an actual camera. So this is what I'm this is what I'm falling back on. Yeah, so my winter coat, everything is stolen. You rack up more expenses, both health products like personal toiletries. You rack up phone expenses because you don't have an actual phone plan. There's just I mean I could label the numerous costs. Even when I had a car, I was paying for gas and insurance. My insurance, it was crap too. It's about $300 a month, and that's just for the basic insurance. That I basically did DoorDash and Postmates for 2 years. My driving record was pristine before that, but driving about 10 hours a day, about 5-6 days a week, your things are gonna happen in the car. And DoorDash, their policies are just absolute crap. I mean, they're still a startup company. It just they change the policies and they screw everybody over. And they basically fired me because I had too many incidents. And because it's for insurance purposes, I don't think it matters whether it's on your whether it's your fault or not. And yeah, after doing it for 2 years, 3,000 deliveries, they let me go. They said, "Hey, we're gonna do a background check every year now on your driving record," and I didn't pass or whatever after 2 years of doing it, even though I had the background checked after the first time. And again, my driving record was perfect before I started doing it. But when you drive in the city for 10 hours a day, about 5-6 days a week, things are bound to happen, unfortunately. So yeah, I had an accident. It's now December, I think 27th, going on the 28th. Um, I did yes, I lost my car back in January, not my fault. But in that time period I was in the process of being eliminated or let go from DoorDash, and I was using the money I got from the wreck to pay for the rental because I thought that I was going to be able to keep on dashing. Turns out, they're like, nope. And so basically I wasted all that money for nothing when I could have used the money to instantly just buy a car. But, that's shit happens, I guess. Yeah, so what I'm yeah, so I've been working different jobs in the time period of not having a car and being homeless, whatever else. I've not had a car since August, not a rental car, nothing since August. It's now December, so that's, yeah, I can't count, sorry. That 4 months, basically 4, almost 5 months. And the yeah, and I've basically it's been pretty interesting. The biggest problem for me, even when having a car, is I could wash and do other things or at least get around. Now I have to pay even more money to take a lift, like Uber Lyft, take a lift to go to Walmart, which is at least 5 miles away, just to get my medicine. Because oh yeah, I'm also type 1 diabetic. So like I can't live unless I have insulin, which by itself, on a biweekly or per monthly cost basis, just the transportation alone to get to the Walmart's about $30 or so. The insulin's about $25 for a vial, which lasts me about 2-3 weeks. So 2 vials. So basically, it's $100 just to get medicine per month, at the very least. And so those are the things I'm dealing with. But yeah, the things didn't work out with my family. When I lost my first apartment, I had a falling out with the pops. And my family is, well, I won't get into it, but it's not a good avenue. I've been able to keep jobs and things like that. I've had to leave jobs. I've gotten fired from a couple, um, but I've usually been able to keep jobs. I do all sorts of things. I've been sort of a mechanic, like a backyard mechanic, as well as a cook. I love to cook. It may not seem like it, but I'm a huge foodie. Uh, when I've had money, I have spent it on decent food. I know good quality food, things like that. I love cars. I've been in marketing and sales. The reason why it's hard to get jobs now is, I mean, is because, like, one, I'm very limited on clothes. My clothes were also taken from where I was storing them because they were on a property that was being taken down in the maintenance manager or the property or the grounds crew basically they toss it because they get in trouble if things are seen and they don't take care of it. So they're gonna some of my clothes. On top of that, I don't have access to be able to wash my clothes because how can I fit a big container full of like really dirty ass clothes, dirty clothes, pardon my French, in a lift, just to go get it washed. It just not having clean clothes, not being able to wash myself, which, before if I was washing myself, I just get a couple things of water, whatever else, and pour it over myself and use like some cleaner clothes to wipe any sort of excess dirt and things like that, any smells, and just scrub myself as much as possible. And that's how I'd wash myself and get rid of smells, things like that. Um, yeah, and so there's that, and that makes it very hard. And then you also can't you you can't the issue about getting a car and being in the city is you have to have a car to get anywhere. Everything's about 5 miles away or so. um so with walking distance and not spending money on Lyft or Uber, I usually only use Lyft anyways. But without spending money on Lyft, which I don't have the cash for on a regular basis anyways, I have to stay to the jobs or the businesses that are closest to me so that I'm not walking 5-6 miles every day and just depleting my calorie intake and wearing out my legs. I mean, I'm 30 years old. I mean, I used to run and jog about 5 miles every other day. I got to the point where I was doing 10 miles a day. I'm also a weightlifter. I lift weights because I used to because I love working out, but having type 1 diabetes, I have to now to keep up health. um, I have to make sure that my body is circulating enough, my blood and everything else like that. As well, if I go to ketoacidosis, which I've done, plenty of times since not having an actual home, not having a viable job or a job that has health insurance, things like that. I've needed to go. I've had to work out to keep my health and to keep everything just in good standing for a 30-year-old. Uh, I moved out of the house, my first house, like where the house I somewhat grew up in, when I was 15. No, I moved out of there when I was 24. I got my apartment and then basically became homeless at 26. And so I've been this way for about 4 years now. Better conditions when you have a car, a little bit more confidence and a little bit more, I guess. Well, you don't feel depleted as a person as much when you have a car. Plus, nobody would guess that you were homeless if you could get all the same um, things like shower and clothes washed and go into stores to get different things or whatever else without having to use a whole lot of money for transportation. Nobody would guess or anything else like that. But yeah, that's it for now. If you guys want to know how I've survived in the sub freezing temperatures so far, as well as like how I've eaten, what I've done for food, what I've done about money or anything else that I've needed, where I shop or anything else like that, how I get around or what do I do, etc. Just let me know in the comments, and I'll be sure to answer as best I can, and I don't know. I guess give you guys tips, or I don't know, give some encouragement to hope that this never happens to you. But if it does, if anything like this actually does happen, it's you can keep on hitting low points and low points and low points, but just hold out. It could be much more worse, and sometimes it takes you getting to a more worse point, to find a better solution for whatever you're dealing with. You should never have to just like hurt yourself, or you should never have to. You should always be able to find out ways to provide for yourself and things like that. But yeah, I guess we're signing off, and I guess I'll talk to you guys later. All right, night.